This is Otaku Station, broadcasting anime analysis to anyone who will listen. We have a basement archive full of an ever-growing collection of anime media. We dig deep into the great anime of the past to give you the context you need to fully appreciate the best this medium has to offer. Let's jam. Welcome to the broadcast. I hope you're having a good day wherever you happen to be right now. This is Otaku Station, where today we'll be talking about the first episode of Princess Tutu. I'm still recovering from the hack last week, but thankfully I was able to have some remote calls with some other broadcasters, and I think I'm pretty much back online, although I see a drone out there. Man, if it's not one thing, it's another. Anyway, Princess Tutu is quite the anime, so let's head to the research room to go behind the scenes. So where did Princess Tutu come from? Well, I want to talk about two folks in particular who were responsible for the creation of Princess Tutu. And I should point out, it is an original anime. It's not based on a manga or light novel or anything. It was created by Ikuko Ito. Can't find any photos of her online. But she is very much an anime staff member. She's worked on a bunch of stuff. She worked on Sailor Moon and Magic Users Club with the director of Tutu, Junichi Sato. And later worked on shows such as Living for the Day After Tomorrow, The Disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan, and Somali and the Forest Spirit. Now, she did not create any of those shows, right? But she generally works as character designer, chief animation director, so somebody involved and responsible for the animation itself, and she also does key animation for a lot of these series, so heavily involved in the pre-production and production of these series. For Tutu, she came up with the idea, very much inspired by ballet, things along those lines, and then she worked with Junichi Sato to hammer out the details. Sato's a really interesting guy. He's worked on a huge variety of anime, and he's developed a reputation for his sensitive handling of children's problems, showing how when children have problems in their lives that they need to deal with those things, and it's hard for them. That said, I'm going to talk about him more in the next episode because he's worthy of a deep dive. So that's the very basics of the creation of Princess Tutu. Hopefully that gives you some more context. And let's go back on up to the tower. Welcome back. I hope you found that useful. Quick update. The drone belongs to a guy named Richard, young man, a traveling storyteller. He uses the drone to scout ahead while he's wandering, and he wandered in the direction of and near the tower. Very nice guy. Apparently. Sorry, it's kind of hard to trust right now. He's resting downstairs, eating some oatmeal chocolate chip cookies and watching some anime. Dallas, I think. Anyway, before we get John and Steve online, a few things to watch out for in this first episode of Princess Tutu. First, the visual style and what it implies. Secondly, the somewhat manic pacing and abrupt tonal shifts. And thirdly, really how little is revealed about what's going on. The basic premise of the show is still unclear, which is kind of surprising for a shoujo magical girl series. Anyway, let's get John and Steve online and talk about the first episode of Princess Tutu. All right, I think we are good to go for Princess Tutu. Now, have either of you seen Princess Tutu yet?
I have not.
Okay.
Not at all.
Heard much, but never seen it.
Yeah. What do you guys know about Princess Tutu? What have you heard?
That I need to watch it, and
Yeah.
that it's not what I think it is, and that it's something completely different. People who know me know this is not in my wheelhouse, but they're just like, you have to watch this. You have to watch this.
Yep.
And that was many, many years ago.
I had heard it was the anime version of the Nutcracker Suite, but like, I don't know where ducks come in on that, so
Yeah.
I have no idea, like, if that's true. Actually, I've never queried. So is that true, or is it just inspired by, or I don't think it's a direct retelling. So basically, I know nothing.
I'm so glad you brought this up, Steve, because I think Princess Tutu is one of the ultimate. You need to watch this. Why? You just need to watch this anime.
Yeah.
No one explains. It's just there. So yeah. All right. Let's see what you guys think. Watching at least a little bit of it. Here we go. Let's talk about this.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about the visual style.
Yeah.
Right. Charcoal. Very basically pencil sketches.
Yeah.
We're getting here, all black and white, just visuals, and literally just, comping them in. There's no real animation here. And it's telling a story about a story and the characters in the story. Make sense yet?
Yeah. Because the Raven and the Prince, or Crow, Raven, whatever, are sick of the story not ending, because apparently they keep on fighting. They're like, well, let's stop doing it. Yeah, we're sick of this. Yeah.
And so the implication is because he was writing the story and then died, the story now has no ending. Right? But now the characters want an ending, presumably.
It's a never-ending story.
Ah.
No. Atreyu. No.
Exactly. Watch out for swamps.
Yeah.
Ikuko Ito was animation director for various episodes of Sailor Moon, and did a bunch of work on Sailor Moon, then worked on a few other stuff, including Magic Users Club, and then created and character designed Princess Tutu.
Okay.
So this is her, her view. We recognize this style of logo, do we not? Revolutionary Girl Utena, right?
Yep.
Very much that approach of the swirls and so forth. So Junichi Sato was also a director on Sailor Moon. Went on to work on Sergeant Frog and Pretty Cure. So very well familiar with these sorts of franchises. And now we go into the series and we have yet a third art style.
God.
Yeah.
So we went from sketchy to sort of traditional anime, but very soft, very sort of cheeseclothy, to this almost like a, not quite woodblock print, but very different style of art.
Yeah. And the bells ringing when you were saying, "Oh, you notice that titling? It's very Utna."
Yeah.
As soon as I hear the bells, I'm like, "Oh, there better not be an upside down castle that happens immediately."
So a few things to call out here. First, apparently we have sentient animals. Secondly, we saw his bare foot. And I'm not being creepy here, but presumably he did not wear any clothes while doing this.
That was, the thought I had.
Which in this implies sort of innocence and purity, right? He is just, not a care in the world kind of a thing.
And she's certainly not reacting, at least initially, like it's salacious.
Yeah.
She's just observant of it. Oh, he just looks lonely.
She's not wearing any clothes either, right? It's just, it doesn't matter to her.
Right.
Okay, so we have a transition again. Also notice again, we're getting...
The Nutcracker Flower Waltz?
Yeah. Different English versus the actual Japanese translation.
Yeah.
So again, she is singing a piece of the Nutcracker Suite.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we establish?
We have Chippy Hedren.
Yes. So what do we establish so far about our main character?
That she's goofy.
Yep.
She has fantastical dreams. She is friends with animals.
Yep.
She's Snow White.
Yeah, I mean, definitely those elements. She also lives in a dormitory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently at some kind of school, it looks like.
There's a bird pecking her hair.
There is.
A little big bird just doing its thing.
So also establishing a light tone to that point.
Yes.
Kind of goofy. I just want to, when she says senior, she's meaning as in, what's Japanese? Senpai. Yeah.
Senpai, yeah.
And that is significant that he is, older than she is.
I also would have accepted if he had throw the curtains aside. He was wearing a sombrero.
Yeah.
I would have been like, Wow.
Sure, why
See
not?
that coming. Did you hear? Did you hear?
Yeah. But also, she's not disliked by everybody.
Right.
So at least she has at least one fan among the student body. It's not Cinderella, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
We've also established that she's not necessarily isolated.
True.
Because each
Right.
girl comes out of a separate room, so it's not like, oh, poor girl, she lives in the attic by herself. All the other girls live together. It's like, oh no, everybody has their own space.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So not quite an upside down castle, but definitely castle-like.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And of course, interesting statements. I'd give my life for that. Then the evil eyeballs come by again. Woo! Like, oh no, what have you said?
Yep. So let's establish. Well, we'll go off that slightly goofy pose, if we can. Come on.
She admires Michael Jackson.
Clearly.
She's a smooth criminal.
There we go.
I'm assuming it's a dance academy, even though we've not said it. When she left the dorms, there was a statue of like people dancing. So
Yeah.
that's my guess for this.
Yeah. And she says she's going to her classes and she's wearing a leotard, you know.
Yeah.
We could assume that. But like notice how much time and attention and animation they're paying to the ballet and the movements and getting all that stuff right. They're clearly setting a bar here.
Right. Wow, we went full on goofy.
We sure did, yes.
Jeez.
This is very much not only screwball comedy, this is almost like Looney Tunes style
Yeah.
wackiness.
Squash and stretch kind of wacky.
Yep.
Wow.
Remind you of Sailor Moon any?
Yeah.
Just a little.
Sort of Usagi-ish.
Little Usagi in here. Yeah. He seems nice.
Yeah, he seems like someone
Yeah.
we'll get to know on great terms later on.
Yeah.
There's no slapping in this one, right?
No. Well, there are a lot of stories about dance instructors taking advantage of their students, right, in the past. I think they're joking off of that. They're riffing off of that, idea. But they make him a cat, so it's funny. Right? So they're not being serious about it.
When was this done?
Uh,
This show?
2002, maybe?
Okay, so maybe it was a less cringy concept to make fun of senior dance instructors
Oh, true.
with
Yeah.
their class, I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah.
She's definitely special because she's in red.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just noticed that too. Duck is in white.
Mm-hmm.
All the other girls are in like light blues.
Yeah. They're doing a thing here which I really appreciate. When you're actually doing a pirouette, the only way to do that without getting dizzy is to fix your eyes on a spot, and then as you're turning, like whip your head around to that spot. And they're doing that here. They're just paying attention to. She's constantly whipping her head back to look at the audience. Kind of cool. Now let's talk about the facial expressions of the dancers here, right? When I'm forgetting his name now, the other guy, when he was dancing, he was expressionless.
Senior Muto.
Senior Muto, thank you. And Rue here is a little more expression filled, but still pretty constrained, pretty restrained. Granted, ballet is often like that, but you do get this sense that these folks are not finding a lot of joy in what they're doing.
Although she does emanate an element of not self-satisfaction, but she radiates a kind of expression of she's confident in what she's doing.
Yeah.
So she has no doubt about it, and she's doing her thing, and she's doing it accurately.
Yeah.
It's like
100%. I will also say, and I just have to say it, that is a running gag for the rest of the series. Like, it's just he promises to marry them or threatens to marry them and then like does that. Like that is the point of his character.
frantically.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Wow.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
So does this remind you of characters in the first episodes of any other shoujo series we've watched recently? Where there's an overbearing older character and a submissive character who seems to do whatever the overbearing older character, taller character does and says.
Other than Utna?
Ah!
So Anthe and red-haired guy. Not
I'm thinking
red-haired,
green-haired
guy.
Yeah.
Green-haired guy.
Saionji.
Saionji. Yeah.
Definitely some Saionji energy from him here. Yeah.
Oh no, is this where the slapping comes in? Maybe.
So let's just call out how creepy that was.
Oh God! I'm like, the slapping would have been better because that was just emotional, just trauma right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could almost. I mean, it was almost as if he was like the dude's pimp. Like,
right.
Don't make me do this. Don't make me hit you. It's just you and I against the world, baby. You know, it's just such creepy tones to that. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
100%. Very strange.
I was waiting for him to use like his Lelouch of Britannia.
Yeah.
Make him do whatever he says. You
Yeah.
love to dance. Oh, I love to dance.
Yeah. Actually, let's call out. She left. You know,
Yeah.
she did not
Left
pursue
class,
him.
Left school.
I mean,
That.
she didn't push. She didn't like sneak in. Whatever. She accepted that as okay. I'm not going to see him today. Interesting.
Yeah, I would have expected I'm going to climb this trellis and I'm going to get up there. I'm going to throw rocks at the window. It's like, yeah, you're right. She just was like, that's fun. Left.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so he's the storyteller, right?
Perhaps. That makes
Somebody's
sense.
nutty uncle who's about to invent some kind of mecha. I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Yes. that would appear to be the case, right? Somebody who's aware of what's going on. You know.
The tutu mecha.
Yeah.
On my way
I'm sure
back,
there's
I'll-
symbolism to the wilting rose with the petal that has fallen.
Yeah.
Is this funky fog overlay supposed to be dreamscape?
I think it's just the mist from the fountain.
Morning or for the
Perhaps,
fountain?
or morning. Yeah, morning mist. I do have to point out, with the architecture on the bottom, it does kind of look like an upside-down castle.
Ooh,
Yeah, it does.
Not a good point.
A little bit.
Muto, could you put on a pair of pants, maybe?
Please.
It is a little odd.
It doesn't leave anything to the imagination from this angle, buddy.
Nope.
Okay, so this is my thought process. He's the storyteller. He's supposed to die. Doesn't really die. The Raven escapes, possibly becomes one of the other girls, the Rue. I'm guessing. And so he's trying, and the prince is going to be Prince Muto, who is trying to find Rue. And she is literally just a dog. And the storyteller is just trying to find a way to end it. He's not really dead. He's just got writer's block. So he's trying to figure out how to get Duck in his story to be the catalyst for the end of the story, I guess. But he is trying to get her to lead him into the story, and she really is a duck the whole time, but she can transform into a girl at some point and be with her classmates, and then transforms into this magical girl when needed,
Princess
with the pendant, Princess Tutu, as with the pendant, all to save a guy who sounds like Shinji from Evangelion. How close am I?
You have some of it.
Some of it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just wow.
Mm-hmm.
Muto's the hero from the story.
Okay.
I'm not sure that the Raven is Rue. I mean, that would be very convenient, but we don't have enough data so far to figure out whether Rue is the oppositional character.
Mm-hmm.
To give us, Muto's got all the good people as the hero, and Rue is the Raven who's bad. So don't have that yet. Evil storytelling guy. We know he's not dead because I think they said he wasn't dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he is. This is all part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he's necessarily not able to work with the story. He's adding elements. So I think Duck is, as you're saying, like it feels like a plot driver, so that it can bring out the necessary functions in Muto and Rue to whatever degree, and then provide a platform upon which to have the final Raven hero battle. I have no idea what the hell else is going on.
I mean, it could be that the prince or the what's the dark haired guy's name again?
Fakir.
Fakir is the Raven, and
that could be.
And then Muto's the prince, and then but the prince can't remember himself, so that's why there's such control by Fakir on this guy, or the other way I'm going to take this, because obviously I've never seen any of this.
Yeah.
Is that Rue actually is the Raven, and Princess Tutu is actually
The hero.
The hero. They just don't know it yet, and the other characters are possibly, well, Fakir possibly might know that that's what's going on there, and that if they go into the dance together, then everybody's memory comes back, I guess. I'm literally just spitballing here.
Yeah, I don't want to reveal anything. I will say what you are seeing in this episode is what's happening on the surface, and then they're referencing stuff below the surface of the storyteller and her being a duck and so forth, and then there's levels 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So there's other stuff going on there that's not even being hinted at yet.
It's like an onion. There are many, many layers.
And it's going to make me cry, isn't it?
I can definitely see, obviously where Nutcracker Suite 5 is heavily in here. But it's interesting that this has got all these different parts going on with it. Just with the music is like the most unifying aspect of it.
So I'm glad you brought that up. This is a magical girl ballet fairy tale anime.
Yeah.
They're throwing all sorts of things into here. That's one of the things I think makes this show fun and interesting, is figuring out what each thing is built upon. Like, is this magical girl because you want this part of magical girl or that part of magical girl? And all these other different things. It is not solely any one of these.
Yeah. I mean, it's got the Usagi thing where it's like she's Duck is clumsy. Duck is a goof until Duck transforms. Yep. And then, much like Usagi, when she becomes Sailor Moon, she can do things. She's not stumbling over herself. She's graceful, capable of dance and action.
Yep.
It's really interesting. I can't imagine how the story pitch on this one was. I want a magical girl fantasy that's kind of like Nutcracker, but not by sort of influenced by, but not really. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Was there alcohol involved?
I'm looking for something that's like DDR, but not. Oh.
Here, drink this a lot, all right? And then we're going to pitch it to you. Why do I have to drink? Just trust me. It'll all make sense.
Have you ever heard of Malort?
Oh, God.
Have some of this, and then we'll talk about the story. Oh, okay.
Oh, most awful thing ever.
I mean, the artistic style of the presentation of it is, I was kind of waiting for a rendering tonal shift into something like, I wouldn't say more standard, but something that's like, a little more online with things for its time. But it's like they've managed to keep that art style kind of flowing in and around. Like when she's Tutu, their background is a white pencil sketching of his bedroom. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's almost blueprint-esque when she's talking to him. And it's just like, wow, okay, you're keeping the artistic angles shifting on this in a way that we're not locked down for a long segment really in here of just flat regular animation. It's squash and stretch goofy. It's very contrasting darks and lights. It's pastels. It's kinetic movements. It's frenetic movements. It's like, jeez.
Yeah.
And this is episode 1.
That's kind of the crazy thing, is you think they have pulled out all the stops this early in terms of references, elements, stuff like that. The fact that the soundtrack is clearly, not only is it pieces of classical music, it is also like motifs of classical music with original compositions. So they're pulling out all that. Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
But it's also very confusing. Like they're clearly throwing a lot at you and saying, this is a puzzle. Not really a puzzle. That's not accurate. They're saying, we're showing you the map, not the territory, if you will.
Right.
You know, here's a whole bunch of different stuff, and it's going to take a while for everything to settle down to really make sense.
Well, it definitely feels like it's almost a mindset for Duck, where she's navigating an increasingly complex landscape.
Yeah.
So her mental progression and her mental occupation in this space is disjointed because of the things that are going on and around. So it's sort of feels vaguely manifestation of like, I'm piecing, there's blocks of things in what I'm thinking and I'm piecing them together, and this is manifesting outside of me in these, you know, different artistic interpretations.
Yeah. As metaphor for like adolescence, you could certainly find some fertile ground here.
Yeah.
It's also kind of
First
interesting.
crush, first love kind of thing.
Yeah.
Navigating what you feel about yourself. I'm just a duck. I sound like a duck. I look like a duck. You know,
ugly
there's a lot
duckling.
of self-doubt. Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly a lot of adolescents, and particularly adolescent girls, deal with body image, deal with, you know, issues of how they fit into their social, you know, dynamic. Again, your first love, all that kind of stuff. It's all happening here.
Well, we saw in the intro portion as well a transformation of the duck into the swan. What is another huge ballet piece?
Yep.
Swan Lake. Duck in a lake and a swan.
Yep.
It's like, crap.
Yeah. And
that
what
just
is this?
hit me, obviously. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. And what is the story of the Nutcracker Suite? Or the Nutcracker in general, right? It's a girl pursuing a guy.
Yeah.
You know, into this fantastical world.
The world of Drosselmeyer. Interesting.
Just confused.
Yeah, very intentionally so, right? Like there's just here's stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I think if I was to be concerned about one thing presentationally, would be if this is the mark where you're starting with all of this going on and all these like shifts back and forth, it's like, dude, that's a high watermark to set for yourself for this.
Yeah.
So do you keep that up? Do you keep that kind of shifting momentum?
Yeah.
Or do you settle into some sort of baseline and then shift, you know what I mean? So make it more, the next episode has a base that you work from, and then the episode after that shifts, and then you shift episodically, not within the single episode.
They're making a ton of promises here. 100%. Yeah. And maintaining this over 26 episodes.
26?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's a mountain. That's a mountain to climb.
Yeah. And it is a ongoing story. Like it's not much episodic. It is building the entire time. Yeah. So we'll see what happens in episode 2.
Ooh.
Welcome back. I hope you found that useful. Good news, Richard and I are getting along very nicely. We're actually going to go out and spend some time in the garden. He's going to hopefully tell me some stories as I work on some of the surprisingly large vegetables down there. It's all good. Sometimes you just got to trust people. Thanks for watching. Until next time, watch more anime.